Saw one more massive.
But there's a beetle just went by right here.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Nick saw it. Look at on camera.
the morning, I wake up feeling no pain. Long stretches, I get to remember it. Then I see my bed is empty on one side. Back in the sheet, the only place I can hide. In the morning, I'm wondering how I'm gonna get through the night. I'm sick and weary, and only your love's gonna make it right. I close the curtain, sweating, shaking all over. Imagine you're here. I'm looking up at the door. I'm a better man with your love than without. Stuck in the cell, I may never make it out. In the morning, I'm wondering how I'm gonna get through the night. I'm sick and weary, and only your love's gonna make it right. Yeah, only your love, only your love. Only your love, only your love. Just a little, take me along the way. Won't you visit? Won't you stop by to stay? I'm a better man with your love than without. I'm in the cell, I may never make it out. And in the morning, I'm wondering how I'm gonna get through the night. I'm
directors of one of the best movies of the year just walked in the room. Thank you guys so much for being here. Congratulations. What have the last few months been like? This movie is a smash hit, clearly still feeling giant theaters, resonated on a level I'm sure you couldn't have predicted, but hopefully as you hoped. So yeah, what has it been like?
Well, we've been kind of back in the lab.
We're
on
on
a
the edit
certain
room.
spider-related project.
They have no idea what you're talking about. Honestly, the day after we finished the sound and color for this movie, the next day we were full-time back on another movie. So
it's sort of like, it's like a little surreal to like revisit this. It feels like another lifetime. Even though it was 3 months ago we were out releasing this movie. It's really gratifying to watch it like go through the different layers of people who watch it in the theater, like you guys, people who are watching it, catching it at home, and revisiting it, and particularly my parents, who texted me today going like, this movie's good. There's things we didn't notice before. We didn't realize it was good. I don't think they thought it was good until today.
but that's the real test of
For real.
I kind of want to work backwards just in talking about how you guys pulled this off, because I know you have an interesting, test screening process of really inviting collaborators in to sort of figure out what the final cut of your movie will be, and especially now that we know that this movie's landed with audiences in the way that it has, I'm curious what you learned about the movie you made in the process of screening it over and over, cutting it, refining it from there, like what that process was like, how you reflect on it.
I mean, this was a really challenging movie to make. It was a 102-day shoot with a lot of wire work and puppetry, and everything about it was complex and complicated, and we wanted to get as much footage as we could because we knew that some things that we thought were going to work great weren't, and some things that we weren't sure about would be surprises. And that's why we try to show our movies to like a core group of friends and trusted filmmakers to watch it and give us thoughts and tell us where it's resonating. You don't even need to hear what they say sometimes, because you can just see when people are engaged and leaning in. You can see when they're getting teary-eyed. You can see when they're laughing. You can hear when they're laughing. You can also tell when they're like fidgeting and like looking at their watch or like wanting to go to the bathroom.
The wild part is it's so consistent. Like, you show this movie, we've seen people watch this movie around the world in a zillion different viewing environments, and we all, no matter where we're from, we laugh in the same place, we cry in the same place. That's really like moving to me, that it doesn't matter where you're from, like you're reacting with your body to the movie together. And so that's really critical to our process, because without you guys, without the audience, like it's incomplete. Like all we can do is present like words and images, and you guys tell the story in your minds, and you create it. So without sitting in the theater, we don't, this is really wonky, but your mirror neurons need to turn on to imagine what everyone else in the theater is thinking and feeling. That's how you will experience the movie in the theater. And in an edit bay, that stuff doesn't engage after a little while. So it always refreshes us and energizes us to sit with other people.
Can you talk a bit about essentially devising this movie, making this movie for premium large formats, like how you knew the way this movie would live on the screen? I know you shot it digitally, it looks incredible in this particular screen, all kinds of screens. So how did you want this movie to look, and what did that look like from filming into post-production?
So we had a lot of conversations with our amazing cinematographer, Greg Fraser, about what we wanted it to look like and what we didn't want it to look like. And so we had lots of talk. We would look through reference of other films that took place in space or took place on Earth, but we wanted to like forge our own look. Obviously, we wanted to. A lot of times when you're in space, it's a very formal, like slow push-ins, and it's very, very precise. And we thought it would be interesting to have more of a handheld, natural feel for the stuff when we were in space, and that really meant that we were going to have to, build build everything for real, build the whole spaceship interior, and build as much as we possibly could so that, you know, when Greg would put on his camera, we'd be like, it's time to get some Greg vibes, we would call it on set. Just like get up in there and like just find some, like, we also had what we call the poetry unit that would just try and find like lovely looking observed shots, and so we wanted to have that sort of messy feel, like the frame was always dirty.
Yeah, and tactile. You know, we come from animation, and we always say like you want to feel the tooth of the paper that somebody is drawing on. You want the rough edges. This is, I don't know if you guys caught it, but like every once in a while, you know, all the screens are things that were practical on set that we shot. And every once in a while there'll be like errors. There'll be like a line of the TV
monitor.
The monitor that was like messed up. And it's every time he looks at the petroboscope, there's like a wiggly line. And you can even see it sometimes because it's projecting onto his face. And you see this thing that looks like a mistake. And we're like, leave it in. Because I want to embrace all the things that make it feel like real life, and all the things that remind me of what I love about, you know, the planet Earth, is that the mistakes are really beautiful. You know? And so I think that's why we wanted to feel that, you know, we have a film back process. We shot the movie digitally. We output it to celluloid and ingest it back in. And in this case, what you're looking at actually is
Pre-re-ingested.
Yeah, it's actually, we printed it to 70 millimeter, and I snuck in, and what I love about this print is like the in space, like the blacks always have like color in them. There's something really, I don't know, there's something like physical about it. And what Ryan's doing in the movie is so physical. It's a 102-day shoot. He's in wires. He's in these ridiculous costumes, and he needs to act with, with a puppet. And it's just an athletic, incredible, spiritual, but athletic performance. And I'd say that about the whole crew. The filmmaking is a physical act. And I always like going to the movie theaters and feeling the physicality and the chemistry, literally, on screen.
To shoot this film practically, it's amazing. I would say that doing that is one thing, even having the idea to do it is another. When did you realize that you were committed to that? And then from there, what were some of maybe the considerations that came up that surprised you, that took you aback, that made it more challenging than you expected?
Well, we knew that we weren't everything was riding on this relationship between Grace and Rocky, and we knew we weren't gonna get the kind of spontaneity and camaraderie if it was Ryan talking to a tennis ball day after day after day. So we knew.
No disrespect to tennis balls.
They
have a lot of personality. There's a lot of different kinds.
So we knew that we wanted to have a puppet performance, and a lot of people were sort of like, yeah, we could probably just replace it with CG, but it'll be good to have the reference, and it'll be good to have something for Ryan to look at and play off of. But we were like, I know that we ended up being about 50-50 animation and puppetry in the end of the day, and we had Arslan and the team at Frame Store on the set with us, and they were making their version of Rocky like based on the actions that the puppeteer team took. So it was a real synthesis of everything. It was really the only choice for this movie. I really don't think it would have worked any other way.
And we made that decision reading the manuscript. Like we called each other and like, I think it's our next movie, and we have to make Rocky a puppet. Like, yes. And it has to be hard. Like making the movie has to be hard. That's what the book is about. Like we can do difficult things. We can do them if we come together, if we are of a generous spirit. And that's what a movie crew does every single time we walk on set. Is like people from all over the world that are dedicated to making movie magic, and giving people a feeling. And like my mom's a big part of this Q&A. My mom came to set on 21 Jump Street. She was like, everyone is so polite. And it's like a very polite workplace. I was like, yeah, because like you gotta get stuff done. When you watch the Artemis II astronauts going around the moon, I was so struck by the affirming way that they spoke to each other and really inspired them. And I was like, that's what a movie crew is.
I'm curious too, is it had been a number of years since you'd made a movie. So the desire to sort of return with a mandate for it to be difficult to an extent, if there was something to that of wanting to push yourselves, wanting to make something that is in many ways as spectacular as what the final product was.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've been producing a lot of movies and being very involved in the production for a lot of different things. So it wasn't like we were on sabbatical or anything, but it was, we really wanted to take something that moved us emotionally, had something to say about the world, and was something that we felt like we knew how to do or believed that we could do, and had something that we could do, that we thought we could do in a way that no one else would do. And when this book manuscript came our way, and we had already had a relationship with Andy Weir, and when we were like, oh, everyone is going to be afraid of having this character have no face. And so there's going to be someone that's going to be like, well, the eyes are the window to the soul. How can we feel for something that doesn't have eyes?
And it was like the one thing we felt confident about, because like coming from animation, like the movement, the behavior is the thing that gives you the character and the relationship. It's not the eyes.
Our first movie that we ever made was called Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. One room and the premiere was here in this very theater.
Yes, true fact.
And we had Flint Lockwood as the main character, and his dad had this sort of like monobrow with no eyes underneath. He looked kind of like sort of like the Swedish Chef, I would say.
We had this huge fight with the studio.
Because they were like, we can't see his eyes. The eyes are the window to the soul. How can we?
I was like, tell that to half the Muppets. Do they have no souls?
And so we did this gag in the movie where one moment he like lifts his eyebrow up and you can see he's got eyes underneath, and then he puts it back down. And that was like,
And the
okay.
studio was like, see, that's what we're talking about. Now I can watch the movie.
So we had this past experience, but we knew, you know, again, we kept telling people, you know, Pixar could make you care about a lamp, and the smaller lamp that is its child lamp. So it's about movement, it's about personality, and we knew that we needed to have a great puppeteer and team of puppeteers and a great animation team to get all the subtlety of movement to make you care and feel and get a great performance. And James Ortiz and the what we call the Rocketeers really were there, and we're just, you know, we auditioned many of the best puppeteers in the world, and there was just this connection between Ryan and James when we had their chemistry read together, and we were like, oh, this. He gets Rocky, and he like read the book several times, and they're like, Rocky would say this, he wouldn't say that, and he was able to improvise with Ryan, and so we knew that this was going to be something special.
I remember after his audition, you know, like there were some big bold-faced puppeteer names that had come through, and after James' audition, Ryan said he creates his own space, and he made me respond to him. He wasn't looking to me to see what I would do and react to that. And that's what I think that character needs to be. And a lot of you guys may or may not know, like James comes from like creating his own show, designing his own puppets. He's a super in-demand, like theatrical puppet director, creator. And so he comes from a place of being the guy in charge. And so that made that relationship really electrifying on screen. Because the bottom line is like all the spectacle, it took forever, you know, it's like a really expensive movie, a huge crew, 102-day shoot. Bottom line is like you have to be able to, you have to want to die for a rock. You guys need to want to die for this relationship. And so that was the mission of the movie. Everyone on set knew it. Ryan knew it, James knew it, we knew it, and that's what all of our focus was on. How can we use these tools to make you deeply care about two people making friends?
And on set, even in the shots that necessarily had to be more VFX driven, like James is in Ryan's ear at all times, right?
That's right. So we had, they both had earwigs, and we had two sets of microphones that one would talk to James and one would talk to Ryan. and we'd suggest things for them to do or say to sort of trip each other up and see what would happen. But it was always, so they always had a performance that that Ryan was reacting to that was really there. And I'd say 90 to 95% of Rocky's lines were the lines that he recorded on set.
Yeah, he was either on set holding Rocky's carapace with 4 puppeteers doing the legs, and also puppeteers doing this animatronic hands a lot of the time, plus the head rocks. So often it would be like 6 or 7 people operating Rocky as a unit, as like a team.
And then when he was rolling around in the ball, that had to be animated because it's impossible to do a puppet inside of a ball like that.
So we did 2 takes with James pushing what we call the lawnmower, which was just like one Rocky's ball, but with
like a handle?
Yeah, with a handle behind it, and it would go like come. A lot of the sound you hear is from those first 2 takes.
And then he had like knee pads, and he'd be like on his hands and knees, like behind the ball, like rolling it around and
Because we
walking
needed
into
the
things.
chaos,
Yeah.
and the camera department needed to like imagine the chaos.
And then know where to point the camera. And it's a movie like this it takes so much preparation. You know, you can't just do wires willy-nilly, right? You have to know exactly where they can go. But we also, every time we wanted to plan something, we wanted to leave room for spontaneity. And Ryan is such an amazing performer, and he when he has the space to do the things that he can do, you get something really magical out of him. And so even when we were doing like, okay, you are going around this corner on wires, you're trying to get to this doorway, and we have a path here, but now we put you in this rig called the spin ring, and we have like people that help you move left and right, and you're supposed to be bad at 0G. You've never been in low gravity before, so you're naturally going to be not an expert at it. So however you want to get yourself there, we have this course for you, and you can take whatever path you want. But we have to start here to get there, and this is where the ceiling is, where the wires can go. And then he would just bonk over this and knock over this and tumble around, and it was like he had a place to play within a very planned and prepared playground.
He's just a really creative guy, and our job was to access that and create opportunities for that in a production that required a lot of planning. And otherwise we weren't going to get the most out of him. He's not the kind of actor that like does it the same way every time. He needs that freedom, and we benefit a lot from that freedom. So a lot of what we were doing is like designing ways for him to succeed, but without a ton of without being too uptight. So here's a game you can play. Like he's the captain of the team, Rocky. Get on the team. Sell yourself. You're in a job interview. Like work really hard, and then we would get on the other microphone and be like, Rocky, don't let him on the team. For what he says. Right? So that those guys could use all their creativity in the service of the story, and you can see the results. They feel really spontaneous.
It's a true movie star performance, I think, and he holds every scene. He's so commanding and compelling. It's also, I think, maybe just the most emotionally open I've seen him on screen. It's just so beautifully vulnerable. I wonder, yeah.
Good plot, Ryan, and vulnerability.
Yes, absolutely, which is a very important theme in this movie. But given that he was in on the ground floor with you guys, and I wonder what it was like to just sort of observe him go to those places, and in such a demanding part, and just really opening himself to the degree that he did.
We often would say, like, I don't know who else could have done this part, because sometimes in the same scene he had to make you laugh and make you cry. And the range that he has, we knew that he had, from all his massive filmography, like, you knew that he could, he could really be grounded and real and vulnerable and honest, and he could also be incredibly funny. But we were like, why don't we use all of the things that you've done in all these various different movies and put them all in one movie, so we can see the whole breadth of his range and the human experience. And so it was really magical sometimes, and he would go to these very like honest and raw places, and we just wanted to make sure that we would be able to get there and get him get the coverage in a way that felt right for the movie.
And make it safe for him. You know, like a lot of times, like our first takes on most movies, we just say like, let's make some mistakes, like let's screw it up. You know, there's no wrong answers. You know, anything you do is right. You want to make sure everybody feels that way. And I think for Ryan, you know, fun thing about working on a movie where he's involved the entire way is, you know, like you say, it's a movie star performance. Movie stars, they make their own, they have their own gravity. You know, the movie shapes itself around them, and they disrupt the space around them. So, you know, the movie started to like embrace Ryan and what he was bringing to it, which is this sense of like, I wouldn't be good at anything but one thing. I would be good at like microbiology, and I would be bad at everything else. I want to be bad at space. You know, I don't want to, like one of the things he related to is like this idea of a hero who doesn't want to be a hero. He doesn't want to sacrifice himself. And I think Ryan is like, you know, always making sure he's going to be safe. And I think that's what you're seeing, somebody allowing himself.
And he really, you know, we talked about, you know, every scene we talked very deeply about like where he was emotionally and what, and it was interesting because he really like related to this character and really like felt like he was him. And so when there's, you know, a big part of the story is how he's kind of a coward, and he would be like, I'm not a coward. He's not a coward. How most people wouldn't want to like sacrifice themselves to, you know, to help save the earth. Like it's not a crazy thing to not want to, you know, go on a suicide mission. It's like a very special type of person that is able to do that. And so he felt it so deeply. It was like we stopped calling him a coward because it was like he felt like
He didn't want the movie to
Grace
judge.
is not a bad person.
Grace,
He's just
yeah.
he doesn't have a reason to be a hero, and then he finds one. Yeah, it was a really really amazing partnership.
He reminds me of like Warren Beatty, who's like a handsome guy who's always playing the low man in the scene. Like McCabe and Mrs. Miller, where he's like, you know, this hunk, and he's like shy and embarrassed, and I don't think that's how Warren Beatty is in real life, but he always played characters like that. And Ryan, you watch a lot of his stuff, and he's always elevating the people around him, the characters around him, and that was perfect for this relationship with Rocky, where he had to take this alien and make him his equal, or sometimes his superior.
I think what you're describing in his performance is also true of the movie as a whole, in that it's a movie that deals with very intense, heavy subjects, the looming end of the world, and yet, as you often do, there's such a sense of optimism and hope and triumph of the human spirit in many ways to this movie. And what I love about it is that it feels like you calibrate it in a really specific way. It never feels like you're leaning too hard into that, where you don't feel the stakes, and vice versa. So how do you do that? How do you find that balance? Because it's very unique to your movies, and this one especially.
You know, again, getting variations on performances in scenes so that we can titrate it in the edit room. And we really felt it was really important that the stakes had to be clear and be hanging overhead at all time. And the idea that human beings, that there's big problems in the world, but that they can be solved if we find a way to communicate, have empathy for each other, and work together. And that is a hopeful message, but it's not denying that there are big problems. And certainly, you know, existing in the world today, you're like, it's hard to, you know, just close your eyes to you know, how the world is.
But we do worry that if, you know, especially people who sit in these seats, if we're always telling each other how divided we are, then we might,
How bleak society.
we might just believe that and take it for granted. You know, yes, we are, you know, data-driven analysis says we are a more divided, politically, you know, country than we have been in a minute. We all went home for Thanksgiving and broke bread with people that we disagreed with and put that stuff aside, hopefully. At least we did. I just had a family reunion. We had like people all the way on the far left, all the way on the far right, and like we suspend that for 3 days and we support one another. Every time I get onto an airplane, I am amazed that human beings from all over the planet can get on a plane in an orderly fashion and sit down and basically follow the rules. It is exhibited over, and every time you're on a set, you experience the best of people working together, accommodating each other, making space, allowing for people from all over the world, being curious about where they're from. And so I think we all experience things that are not simply division. We experience cooperation. And to me, that's the thing that Andy writes about in his book. It is about the way we're able to cooperate, that is essential to the way our bodies work. And that is essential to why, how we're built, that we are designed to work together.
Important message for right now, I think. And along those lines, I'm curious how you guys approach the final act of the movie. Even having been familiar with the book, there is a constant sense of, wait, is Rocky about to die? Is great. There's just a constant, really accelerating sense of danger for both of them and where you're going with it. And I wonder how you thought about the pace of that, obviously the final destination of that, but really where you wanted to take audiences and how you wanted to land the plane.
Well, reading the book manuscript, I stayed up till 4 in the morning. It was like, they can't kill Rocky. He wouldn't kill Rocky. He wouldn't do that. I had to find out what was going to happen, and I will say that the twist that he didn't volunteer to go on the ship, I did not see coming. And I usually, when reading something like this, I'm like, yeah, okay, I know where this is going. And so that really, I may have also been delirious at 3 in the morning. So we knew those things were where like the meat of all of the emotions of the movie are, and that's where the movie really like kicks into another gear. So we did not want to skip on that part. There is like once they say goodbye in the hallway, in the tunnel, we found that the movie, people were like, this feels like the ending, and so anything that happened after that, we had to go really, really quickly. From a pace that, but it was just like an editing thing, like the audience, is like, okay, I felt the rhythm of people saying goodbye, and it felt bittersweet and lovely, and then surprise, another twist happens. But it was, it's such an important part of the book, and then I think a really important part of the movie. So, tough to balance, but it was important.
And we have a lot of tools at our disposal. We have the incredible music of Daniel Pemberton. Amazing stuff. And one of the things that Daniel has taught us over the last few movies we've done together is the power of playing music across sequences to tie them together. And we were able to use that to great advantage in that fishing trip sequence. It's like a 10-minute sequence with lots of twists and turns, but it's one piece of music that's going across the entire thing, and it gives it a coherence and momentum that really, really helps.
Guys, we're out of time. Thank you so much for